Before I begin, I just wanted to show that I got a second Loona shirt, and I absolutely love the design. Their merch has been pretty spot on to what I want. I'm also waiting on something else. But anyway, let's go on to the video. Hello, my name is Pen. I am a freelance artist and animator. Welcome to another Art Talk. Instead of rambling over footage, I'm going to walk you through it. As you might have seen in my demo reel, I'm now in the cleanup coloring phase. Let's peel it back all the way to the sketch. The Animatic. I like to combine the storyboard and the Animatic all into one stage when I need to save time, because I'm doing all these stages by myself. You see the yellow layer here is a folder with all the sketches inside. The rough phase is only to get the ideas down. You get the pacing and flow of everything. I'm not worried about cleaning up this sketch. I just need to know where she's moving, how the characters are shifting their weight, where are they facing, where are their hands, moving things around. And this is probably the most important stage because everything else relies on this. This is the skeleton. You need it in order to put anything else in your animation. You'll notice this white layer here is just so that I can see the animation a little bit easier on top of the background. The background was painted on its own, and there's a couple variations of it. It's loosely based off of a couple references from the show. A part of me wanted to take the time to make it spot on perfect, but not only should this be my own creation, I also need to save time, and I tend to be a perfectionist, so I can't overanalyze it. This animation is a music video, so it leads into the main part here. Wait for it, and there's the switch. On the switch, the background changes to this, and there's a lot going on here. Loona is made up of 4 main pieces. She has her body, her hair, her headphones, and her tail, which are all color-coded right here. Her body is the primary animation, and everything else is the secondary animation, which means all the secondary animations react to the first animation. Her body is the source of movement. It is the powerhouse. It moves everything. Then the hair and the headphones and the tail react. They follow her body. So at the very beginning, I just animated her body. It was originally this. Originally, it was just her body moving in sync with the music. You'll notice a little blue and yellow marker. I'm using that to keep timing with the animation's music. Originally, just going through the music, I had the background and I just put this to keep track of the tempo. With that, I was able to keep her body moving in sync with that. You see little extra motion lines as I tried to figure out what arc she's following as she moves, how she's shifting her hips and her shoulders in reaction to that, because she's headbanging. It's metal. Her hair was the next stage, and that's probably my favorite stage because it flows. I love the fluidity of hair. I miss having long hair. Just that's the whole reason, is just getting to animate it like this is so much fun. Like how it flows, like this motion right here as she like whips it downward and it kind of falls and recovers and then flows back up. And it kind of suspends in midair as she's leading her head back down like this. I love that motion, and the transition of her hair going like an arc, like a little rainbow shape down to whip is a very weird transition, which is really satisfying to watch it in motion. And there are a lot of ones, meaning that it's at single frames, where sometimes animation will stretch it to be 2 or 3 frames, like her body is sometimes. The hair is mostly ones. Her tail is moving at half the speed, because if everything moves perfectly in sync with it, if everything's moving at the same tempo and the exact same motion, that will feel robotic. So while her hair is moving at every tempo beat, her tail's moving at half the tempo beats. I also like to think of the tail being what keeps her balanced. She's using it to steady herself because she's headbanging so aggressively and she has so much hair, it's probably heavy. So the tail is behind her to kind of keep her balance as she's headbanging like this. The headphones were fun because there's a joke in the video about the headphones. And they are kind of doing what the hair is doing. However, I actually alternate which side the headphones are on. At first, the headphones whip in front of her so that you can see the headphones. And then the second time, it goes behind her, under her chin, just so that it's basically switching sides. It's kind of interesting. It's pretty realistic too. Have you ever been dancing or running and you have a cord or something? It usually kind of whips with gravity. It just kind of like swings back and forth. That makes it more interesting to look at. It doesn't feel like an obvious copy-paste repeating image. This way it kind of flows. Because music and animation, it's a good thing. And having them all move together, color coding is a big thing that helps me a lot to make sense of it. When it's time for the line art, I technically put the plain white layer on top of my sketching right here. It's easier to see my line art if I have that plain white in between the lines and the sketch. There's a fill white here just because I wanted to see her a little bit better. It doesn't make sense. That's not what I'm going to need for the actual coloring cleanup phase, but I did it real quick just because it's easier to see her this way. Especially if I turn it off, I can kind of test and see how the contrast is working against the background. This is closer to the real thing because there won't be a sketch layer, but the sketch layer makes it a little more obvious with that blue hair kind of popping out. And now I'm in the coloring cleanup phase. And there's a little bit more than you saw in the demo reel because I'm working on this every day, a little bit at the end of the day. This video was a nice change of pace. I really wanted to share this more in depth so you can see everything I've been doing up to this point. I'm going to have at least one or two more of these big updates because there's a lot more I'm still gonna do in the technical side of things. So to me, this is exactly what I've always wanted to see when I'm watching other people make their art. So I share this with you. Please support Vivziepop and Helluva Boss, Hasbin Hotel. Please support this because this is a lot of innovation and finally getting breakthroughs in adult animation that isn't Family Guy. So thank you for watching this, and bye-bye. Take care. Oh, and stay hydrated.